Hey everybody, welcome back. So I have been wanting to tackle a few projects on my truck and a project on my car in the interior for quite a while now. I've been looking for steamers. I already own a steamer, but it's a big monster Bissell that I use in the house for like the couches and the upholstery in the house and various other things, the floors. I'm not going to drag that big thing out into the garage, and I'm not going to put it through, being outside and knocking it around. It was a big investment, so I've been pricing for a while now handheld steamers. The reviews on the Chicago Nomadic steamer haven't really been that great, so I'm like, something will come up. I've been looking through Amazon, like, as we all do, especially if we have a project in mind. Um, the reviews on Amazon for some of the products weren't that good, and for some of the brand name handheld steamers like a Bissell for from Amazon, couldn't warrant the expense for something I'm going to do sparingly. So, as luck would have it, over the last maybe month or so, depending on where you are in the country, Harbor Freight added this Grant's handheld steam cleaner to its lineup of tools, and I picked it up for $34.99 about a week ago. And I've got some mild weather here today, so I'm going to try and tackle a couple of these things. So you're going to need a few things to get started with these. All steamers, mostly all steamers, recommend that you use distilled water in the product because it kind of it prolongs the life of the internals. If you use tap water, well water, the minerals and things that could deposit inside will shorten the life of your unit. So I ran and picked this up. It's a gallon of distilled water. I picked it up at my local Dollar General for $1.75. You can probably get it cheaper in your bigger supermarket chains. So for $1.75, it's worth it to keep on hand. So I picked that up. You can probably use, well, not probably, they also say ionized water is an alternative. You may even get away with purified water. But again, for the investment price, just get the distilled water. I think that's the way to go. It's going to, store it away in a corner somewhere. It's not going to be in your way. And you're going to need something to, as you're doing your project, especially if it's upholstery, you're going to need to go and have something to sop up kind of the steam. Most of these steamers don't eject a lot of water. It's not like you're going to need a wet dry vac to go behind yourself as you're cleaning, but pick up microfiber towels. These are also Grant brand. I pick these up whenever they are on sale at Harbor Freight because they're always good to have in the garage. So I already had these on hand because they were on sale recently. I keep them with my polishing kit when I do the, detailing on my car. So you'll need something to go over your area. And depending on how dirty or not dirty you want to be or get, you may just want to wear some rubber gloves or some sort of glove. So that's really about it. So I am going to unbox this. We'll take a look at what's inside the package, see how long the heat up time is, and we'll get some water in there. And then I'm going to show you, hopefully, I'm going to cross my fingers, especially with the truck. I really want to get those truck seats into a better condition and prolong the life of them, make them look a little better. So let me unbox this and I'll be right back. So I've unboxed the unit. It seems like a nice stout unit. The plastic it's plastic, but it's kind of like a heavier gauge plastic. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel constructed in a very cheap way. So it comes with your unit. It comes with this is your top, this is your lid after you get your fluid in. It comes with a measuring cup and a funnel so you can get your fluid in without making a huge mess, I would imagine. I'll see how that goes in a few minutes. So measuring cup, your lid, and a nice little array of gadgets and attachments. So this is just like your normal vacuumy steam. It has 5 little ports underneath that you can see where your steam ejects. And then this is a squeegee attachment that looks like it goes right over the top of this if you're going to do windows or glass or your shower doors. You want to get that mildew or that soap scum kind of stuff off, so you can use this little rubber squeegee. So the ports would be open. You would still be able to get the steam from the 5 ports underneath. So that's a nice little attachment. I'll probably use this on the upholstery. So put that aside. It comes with a little, maybe a 2.5 foot extension hose. And you can see there are brass fittings on the inside. which is nice. There's also brass inside the tank, inside the unit here, and you can actually see a little brass fitting in here. Now, this looks like it's kind of a lock and twist mechanism, but we'll go over the rest of the attachments first. So we went through this one, this little hose, a little extension hose, so you can, extend the area and getting to a tight spot if you needed to. It comes with these two little round brushes. Now, they don't feel any different. They are pretty stiff. They are nylon. So these might be a good, make good use of these on the upholstery in the car and the truck. So we'll keep them on the back burner for now. This looks like it's just a little sock that you would put over, like if you were doing floors or something smooth, you would put this little sock over the end of your vacuum attachment. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got what looks to be like a scraper. So your steam would come out of those two little openings there. And you would be able to scrape if you had something like gum or glue, some sort of adhesive that you're trying to break down. You would be able to use this scraper, so that's nice. Then it comes with this. This looks just like a standard friction fit. You would put this over your nozzle, maybe, I don't know. But it looks like it has like a hex, like an Allen kind of recessed area. So this would be just for, maybe tight corners or things like that. And then I guess this is just your standard. Actually, this is how this would work. I see it now. I could see the Allen, like the 6 sides here. So you would just friction fit this on the tip of your nozzle. So that's good. And then, like I said, this looks like it has like a twist and lock feature. You kind of slide it on, and it looks like there's 2 little indicators on the top that probably, yes, they would match up here. So this is pretty simple. This is like standard on a lot of items like this. This actually has a little rotating feature, which is kind of cool. So let's see if we can get this to line up. So we'll put this on, and there you go. Those 2 little, just like I thought, those 2 little lines line up, and then you have your friction fit tip. So what I want to do, because I'm going to be doing the upholstery in the car, I want to see if, let's see if this is the way to go. We'll put this one on. This is kind of like if you've ever used a 35mm camera and your lenses they're not a screw-on type. They're like the click and latch kind of thing feature, like this is kind of the same kind of thing. So it's twist and click. You have to just line it up to make sure it gets in, and then you do the twist and make sure your lines at the top of the unit line up. So now I've got this little extender on there, which is nice, and I believe this is the same thing. So yes, there's two little indicators on my vacuum head feature, and unfortunately there is not 2 little lines on the hose, but I gather since they both would be the same kind of thing. All right, so it's the same. Pull that off. So you can see the lock feature. You would lock it in, and once you get it in, it's going to lock right in there. So let's put this on and get it to where it starts to seat. So now it's seated, and now a twist, and now it's locked on to the hose. So I think I'm ready to go as far as the attachments that I'm going to use. And let me get the instructions and take a quick peek, and I'll be back and show you how we're going to fill this up and what the instructions say as far as the heating element, how long it's going to take to heat up, how much time you can expect out of a tank. I guess it's about, it says 11.5 ounces, but I don't believe you're going to put 11.5 ounces in here. I think you're going to put a little less. So let me go check this out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so one of the first things I noticed in the warning section, it says to prevent serious injury, to prevent steam burns when filling the tank, release the trigger, unplug the unit, then let it cool for 5 to 6 minutes. So I guess there is a pressure feature on this that won't allow you to actually get the cap off after you've used it, and now you're going to refill because you still have to do more work. So it says after the unit is cooled, the tank pressure should reduce to a safe level. The tank cap can be opened, and the cap will spin freely until the pressure level. The cap will spin freely until pressure level is safe. So that's a good thing to know, because I know some of us, we get into doing a project and you might run out of fluid, and you're like, okay, I just have to refill it, and you go to unscrew it, but it will not release until you unplug the unit and let it cool for 5 to 6 minutes. It's kind of like a pressure sensitive feature that prevents injuries, so that's a good thing. To fill it up, it says to fill the measuring cup with distilled water no higher than the 250 milliliter mark, or millimeter. So you can't really see it, but it's almost to the top of the cup. Now, I don't think that 250 milliliters is actually 11.5 ounces. I think it's less. So it might be about 8 to 9 ounces. So you might need to have a little bit of, you don't want to fill it all the way. You're going to need some room for pressure to build up inside the unit. So that little space where you don't fill it all the way up to 11.5 ounces, that's probably why it says 250 milliliters. Put the funnel in the port, pour the water in through the funnel, replace the tank cap, and tighten securely. The other thing that I noticed was after every use, it says, after the unit is cooled for 20 minutes, press and hold the trigger to release any residual steam pressure. So you're going to want to unplug the unit after it's cooled for 20 minutes, then press and release the trigger. It'll get any residual steam out. Remove your attachments, rinse and dry them with water, allow them to dry, empty the tank, rinse with water, and allow the tank to dry before replacing the cap. So, and one of the other things was steam. It says in here that steam loosens dirt and grime and grit and everything else, but it does not remove it. That's the reason for having these. So as you're going through your project area and you're trying to clean it up, hit a little area and wipe it down. You're gonna be removing the dirt and the grime and grit and whatever else is there, adhesive, gum, glue, whatever it is. That's really the reason for having these. It's not so much about cleaning up the steam or any water droplets that get through. It's to try and remove the dirt. So you'll break down. You may have to hit an area, depending on how gritty or grimy it is. Hit it once or twice. Continue to remove. So it could be lather, rinse, repeat process depending on the level of dirt that you're trying to clean up. So let's put some water in here. Get our funnel in here. Just make sure you guys are in the frame. I'm doing this at a very strange angle, and of course this is filled right to the top, so that's nice. I got my $1.75 worth, that's for sure. Let me get this over here so I don't make a huge mess. All right, so we're going to get it right to the 250 milliliter mark. Get our cap back on our bottle. Yeah, that's going well. That's going well. All right, here we go. So we got our little tank. It has this little spout feature so you don't make a huge mess. And I guess you're going to want to get a little air in there, so we'll pick up the funnel a little bit. So the water goes in. All right, so we've got our water in. We didn't make a mess. That's the important part. Looks like there's a little sealant that wants to break free there. And here's our cap. Get our cap on, make sure it's secure. The other thing I did read in here is they say when you're first using the unit, it will spit some water as it gets, as the steam builds and everything settles, the pressure, it gets pressurized to the correct levels. You might see some water eject out of the tip, and that's pretty much standard on pretty much everything that I've ever used that's been a steamer. Even my Bissell does that, so I don't suspect that'll be any different. So I'm going to run a cord out to the car or to the truck first and get a camera set up, and we're going to tackle the upholstery on my 20-year-old truck. So I'll be right back. So I forgot one thing. There are two indicator lights on here. One is for your power and the other is basically the green light that you're ready to go. So when this turns on, once it gets up to the proper heat or proper temperature, this green light will go on. So this is your power indicator. And then when the green light goes on, you're ready to start using your trigger and get busy. So I'm gonna get my extension cord out there, get the doors open on the truck, get a camera in there, and I'll be right back. So I've got the unit plugged in, and I'm going to wait until it gives me the green light to go. But you can see the seats have seen better days. They're 20 years old, and I apologize for any outside noise because I'm using the mic on the camera. So we're kind of like in a we're in a lane for our airport. You might hear some airplanes, you're gonna hear some birds, you're gonna hear some other things. So but these are some of the areas that are really bothering me. Dad was a coffee drinker, and you could see he probably spilled coffee a million times in here. This is kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say crunchy, but it's kind of stiff. So I'm going to try and do like half of the seat and then see where we sit. So I'm going to let this continue to heat up, and we'll be right back, and hopefully with some good results. So the tank took about 3 minutes to heat up. It's given me the green light. Let's see if we can get that on camera. So I got a green light, and I'm gonna see what this does. The other thing I just noticed is there is a lock feature, so you can pull the trigger and then put this lock on so you can keep the trigger down, I would imagine. Or maybe that's just a lock feature, like a safety. Yeah, maybe it's a safety. All right, so it's locked now. You cannot pull the trigger. So that's just a... Yeah. All right, so we're gonna see what this does. And you can see some steam already. It is sputtering like it said it would. And we're gonna give this a run. So let's see how this goes. It says for really tough areas to hold about 1/2 inch. If you're trying to like cut through some crud and things like that, hold it 1/2 inch from the area, and you may have to repeat. So let's check it out. So let's take a look if that broke that down any. Yeah, you can see dirt already coming up from there. See, there's a little bit dirt. So I'd like to see if this tries or does anything for the fibers of the seat itself, if it kind of rejuvenates it a little bit. So lather, rinse, repeat. We're going to continue this process and continue to wipe it up. It is spitting a little bit of water, but I guess it's because it's the initial use. But if this loosens up these fibers and whatever it is that was spilled in this truck while my dad owned it, you can see there's stuff coming up. Kind of gritty, which is a good thing for me. That means it's working a little bit. Let's go a little bit more. Definitely doing a little bit of work here. There's no doubt. There's stuff coming up. There's definitely stuff coming up. So this might be for a seat that's this aged. You know, this could be a process that might take a little bit of time. The other thing I'm going to do is I brought one of the little brush attachments. So I'm going to, I don't know if I can unhook this now or not. Let's see. Yep, you can do that. And this is the friction fit. It goes on this little hex. So we're going to put that on. And we're going to do a little scrubby dub. We're going to see how that works out. There's a little, it looks like a rust spot. I don't know what that's all about, but let's see if we can do a little job on that. That worked better than I thought. It definitely lightened up the, you can see what came up there. So maybe I use that on these tough spots that were kind of crunchy. See if we can get this little stain out of here, or make it less appearing. Let's get a clean spot on the towel. Yeah, it's coming up. It's definitely coming up. This might be a project that might be something that I might have to repeat again at some point. But the overall appearance looks like it's getting much better. And there's some cruddy thing over here. The other thing about this is the tank is cool, really. I mean, it's warm, but it's not something like, you can see, I'm keeping my hands on it. So it does get warm. Even the steam that's coming out where it's close to my hand while I'm using this tool, it's hot, but it's not scalding. So that's a good thing too. So let's see if we can get this little cruddy spot to dissipate a little bit. That looks like some kind of, I don't know, glue or something. Sure, with some agitation and maybe a repeat. Let's get a clean towel. Well, it's gotten a little better. It broke it down a little bit. So, again, I was not looking for miracles on this. I just wanted to try and liven this seat up a little bit. Here's some, you know, maybe I won't do half the seat. Maybe I'll do a couple more spots just to get an overall view of maybe what this is doing. And continue to use this scrub brush. Yeah, it's lifting. It's definitely doing its job. So I'm not sure how this seat is going to look when it's dry. I'm sure it's going to look a whole lot better. Again, not looking for miracles. See, it's definitely, oh wow, I can feel it. It's no longer crunchy. It's definitely steamed up whatever that was. It's probably coffee or some sort of beverage that he had. It's definitely doing its job. So you can't knock it. Again, this is not trying to turn this into a show truck. And I may have to lather, rinse, and repeat some of these things, but I'm okay with that. I'm really impressed with how it knocked down whatever that adhesive-y, gluey, gunky thing was. Let's see if we can get the rest of it out. So there's definitely something to be said for the agitation. If you can use that bristle brush, now there's only just a little bit left on that little spot. It really doesn't even feel like it could just be the fibers of the upholstery. that definitely took it out. And I can see a little bit of an improvement on this seat. I'm sure when it dries completely, it will look better. But this, whatever this was, is definitely improved. And I'm sure I can make it even better. So, again, not trying to make this into a show truck. I just want to improve it a little bit. Extend the life if I can. So I'm going to call this pretty good. I'm going to go over the rest of the seat, and then we'll switch over and I'll show you the back of the car, my car seat, and wish me luck. I'll give this time to cool down and probably have to refill it, but right now, just what I've done, I'm still running. It will shut off when it runs out of fluid, so I'm going to get busy on the rest of this seat and do my thing, and then we'll be back with the car in a minute. So I made the transition from the truck to the car. What I did was I followed the recommendation in the instruction manual. I let the unit cool off. I unplugged it. I let it cool off for about 5 minutes, and then I ejected the rest of the steam. I pulled the plunger on pulled the trigger on the unit and ejected the rest of the steam, residual steam, all the way. And then I let it sit for, the 10 minutes while I was transitioning and moving the car into position and taking the truck out of the way and getting everything in and out. So, because there is no measuring, like on a standard steam iron, you have a fluid level that you're able to see on the side. This does not have that. So I didn't know how much water was left. So all I did was, after it cooled, I took the cap off. I dumped the rest of the water out, which was probably maybe an ounce or so. I dumped it out, and then I did a complete refill, 250 milliliters. It's ready to go again, and I am going to use the vacuum attachment first. I also brought in the heavy hitters. I brought in a couple of nylon brushes. I actually did that when I was doing the rest of the truck seat. So this is very lightly soiled. This is nowhere near in comparison to the way the truck seat was. The only thing that's really weird, I don't know if you can see this on the seat belt. This is the way I bought the car. I don't know what the hell that is. Something either leaked from the back of the trunk or somewhere else. I don't know if this steamer is going to be able to tackle that job, but I'm going to hit that. So I'm going to use, as I go along, I'm going to see if there's any need for these. And I'm going to also use the friction fit round brush. But I'm going to start with the vacuum attachment. I got a couple of clean cloths so as not to get the residual dirt from the other towels that I used on the truck. So these are clean. So whatever dirt you're going to see is actually what's coming off of here. And I'm definitely going to do the half and half test. I'm going to do half of the seat and see how we go. So this is all fired up and ready to go, and we're going to tackle it. So here we go. And I again apologize for the external noise. The birds are going crazy today out here. I don't know what's going on. You can see plenty of dirt. Look at that. So that makes me feel better. The other thing I did notice after I got done with the truck seat, did you ever walk into a dry cleaner and that clean, fresh smell, that clean clothes smell? The truck has a very nice odor of cleanness just from doing that seat. So that's going to be a project. That seat I'll probably tackle that again. Look at that. So let's keep on going here. Another clean spot on this rag. So my immediate reaction now here is on something that's lightly soiled, an upholstery that doesn't really have a lot of wear, like 20 years. This is going to definitely fit the bill. as a product that I'm going to really enjoy using. I'm sure as this dries, you'll see I'm sure you can see a little difference now. You know, this is about the halfway mark. So this is still soiled, still got some dirt and things in it. And this is still steamy-ish, it's a little damp. I'm sure as this dries out, you will not see these dirt rings and things in this seat. So let's, for the sake of argument, let's remove this attachment and let's put on the brush. I want to see if this has any effect on this stain on my seatbelt buckle, so, or my strap. Let's see. I don't really think so, kids. This looks like this is something that's been in there for quite a while. And I don't think that's ever going to come out. Maybe with some sort of chemical treatment, it will. It's a little better, but I think that might need a chemical scrub, something like maybe crud cutter or something like that. It is lifting a little bit of the dirt, but that might be a project job. You can see it's actually leaking on the seat too. So that'll be another project for another day. But let's use the little scrub action on the seat where I already made the pass with the vacuum attachment. Definite improvement. Definite improvement. Even though this fabric is now steamy and a little damp, you can see these little striations of dirt that were here, they're gone. So again, very lightly soiled seat cover. But the results, for me, definitely what I wanted to see. I didn't expect to see it in the truck seat, but I did expect to see some good results in here because this hasn't been really heavily used. So I like it. I'm going to finish the rest of this seat, go to the other side, do the other seat, and I'll be back with my final thoughts and give you my opinion of all of this. So I'll be right back. So I wanted to show you all a little something here about the aftercare of this unit. So there's still some fluid left in here. It's been unplugged for about maybe 5 or 6 minutes. And this is what they mean by releasing all the remaining steam that's in the unit. So there might not be a lot, but all you're gonna do is pull the trigger and you'll see the excess steam, the residual steam that comes out. And you just hold the lever all the way down until it stops. And there you go. So this helps equalize the pressure again that's inside the tank, and then wait another 10 minutes before you pull the cap off. I'll just dump out the remaining fluid that's in here and clean it up. You know, the aftercare says clean all your ports and everything off, and I'll get to doing that, and then I'll give you my final thoughts in a minute. So my initial thoughts after going through the truck seat, I think the truck is going to need a little bit more work, and especially on those really tough areas, might need a chemical bath of some sort. So some sort of cleaner in conjunction with using the steamer. So I'm going to go back over, I'll revisit that again. I wasn't expecting miracles for the truck seat. It does look better. And it did break down some of the sticky fibers. You know, if you had like coffee with sugar in it or milk, it's going to get sticky. So that's where that little crunchy texture, that sticky texture on a couple of those spots. But I'm pleased so far. As far as the car goes, I went through all four seats and couldn't be happier. Again, lightly soiled seats. Car's 10 years old. I'm pretty much the only one who uses it. Occasionally, I have a passenger, and there were a few times over the last year where I was transporting a dog, muddy paws, dirty paws. And those seats look amazing. I'm very, very pleased with that. So, something that's a very light soiled upholstery or a fabric, I think is going to be, for somebody who, let's just say you got kids and they're dumping their Capri Suns and their soft drinks or whatever, they're getting on the seat, gum, even any type of food, or candy, anything like that. If you've got a family and you got the family funster and you're trucking kids around or animals, and you want to maintain your vehicle, because let's face it, not all of us have the luxury of every 3 years, going out leasing a new car and just turning them in. So if you want to prolong the life of your car seats and their upholstery, this for 35 bucks, I think is going to serve you well. And I thought about something while I was cleaning everything up. I had vinyl windows installed about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've got a due east facing window in my bathroom, or two windows in my bathroom and bedroom. So when the wind whips up off the coast, I can literally see the beach line from here. I'm like maybe a quarter of a mile, third of a mile from the water. When wind comes whipping up, when you have storms and things, debris and pollen and stuff from your trees and whatever, it gets caught in your screens, and it gets trapped in the vinyl, the tracks of your windows. I thought about maybe using this, when springtime comes, especially with screens. If they get pollinated and you don't want to put any pressure, like using a brush or some sort of, even a cloth, putting pressure on your screens could, enable the screens to come loose and start getting wiggly. So maybe using something like that to loosen that dirt, and then you can lightly, or even just take if you had an air compressor or compressed air in a can, just loosen all the dirt with the steamer and then blow all those things out. I'm going to attempt to use that in the springtime once it's, spring cleaning comes around. So there's alternate uses other than car upholstery, or I'm even thinking about, I was looking at my John Deere mower. There might be things that I can use rather than using solvents and things, because sometimes those are more irritating to things like rubber parts. They can eat through and cause damage. So even on like your trim seals on your car doors, or any sort of weather stripping where you don't want to use a harsh chemical that could break down the material of those seals, this will be an awesome thing to use. So the car seat thing, I was ecstatic, over the moon. I want to show you though, because they tell you your aftercare to make sure you dump your tank. I've already done that. I turned it upside down on a towel, let some water drip out. And now I'm just going to leave the lid or the cap off overnight, so any liquid will dissipate and evaporate out of there. I cleaned off the tip, but on that little brush that I used, you can see that little gummy spot that was in my truck seat. You can see it does trap it, and I guess the heat kind of affects the nylon. See how it's gotten? So between agitation and just the heat, it kind of twists these nylon bristles out a little bit, and they get out of shape. Now, maybe there's a way to get, there's two that come in the box, so maybe there's a way to replace these if you use these quite often. But you can see that's fabric from the truck seat, the car seat, probably some of that gooey shit that was in there, for lack of a better word. So they do get bent out of shape a little bit. So that's something to consider. But I mean, it's still usable, but you want to maybe take a wire brush or something and clean that out. Get any fabric or anything that gets caught in there. So there's one. And on your vacuum attachment, you can see all the lint and fabric and stuff that gets caught as you're using this. Now you're going to want to keep those ports free and clear of any kind of debris. So that's part of your aftercare. I'm going to go through this now, maybe take I don't know, a pick, a nail, something. Just make sure those ports are clean, because you're going to want to, for $35, you can make the argument, well, I'll just go get another one. But hey, if you can prolong the life of this in any way, shape, or form, take an extra 10 minutes, just clean these things out. And I think you're going to be happy that it's going to, hopefully it serves us. Those of us who have purchased one or willing to go out now and purchase one, it'll serve us for a longer period of time, and you extend that $35 over the course of time. So I'm happy with it. I think I'm going to find some other uses for this. I have, like my toolbox renovation thing that's been going on. Some of my older toolboxes have, some stains and things from fluid and all of that. Maybe that might help clean them up a little bit and bring them a little rejuvenation and bring them back to life too. So, 35 bucks at Harbor Freight grants. What do they actually call this? This is the handheld steam cleaner, 11.5 fluid ounces, 1200 watts. All the attachments, I didn't use all the attachments, but I'm sure I'm going to now. Now that I see how it performs, I'm really happy with it. So if you guys are looking to go out and buy one and, you're not a pro, you're not doing that. And you know what, maybe even some pros. In a pinch, something happens to one of their pieces of equipment and they're in the middle of doing a job for a client or even just doing their own car. Run down to Harbor Freight if there's one, close by, and pick this up for 35 bucks. It gets you through the rest of your day until you can get your equipment cleaned up or fixed. So I'm happy with it. I hope this helped anybody that's thinking about buying one, and I will see you in the next video.